Tables are one of the coolest things you can build as a developer. And frankly, I don't know why, but it just feels like every programmer I talk to just loves to track their data and display stuff from their application using tables. And because of that, what I'd like to do in this video is show you how I build my tables using a third-party tool called React Tables. And although this is the main site of React Tables, what they're basically giving you examples of how you can like star things in your tables and everything like that. This is what I built using React Tables. And this is totally dynamic and it works with the backend where I can show the title, the cost of the course, if it's published or not. And I can just head over here and I'm able to like edit the course. And having some sort of table just made it so much easier. And let's just walk through how this will work and how you can do the same thing. And so what this could look like in an actual application is something like this. So let's say we have our data table here. This just represents whatever is in here, okay? It would have two main components to display both the data and make it look like a React table, right? It would have something like a column.tsx or JSX file, and then a data table displaying the column and everything else. So it'll be data table.tsx. And our goal as developers creating these tables, or generally whatever the third-party tool is to display both the column as well as the data table. And generally, we would call the data in the column.tsx file and then call the column.tsx file in the data table, which we then call in our main page. So this would be the main thing we are calling to display here, while this is called within this. And before we get into how to build it in an actual coding sense, right? Because we know we're doing a lot of theory over here. This is what, again, it would look like, okay? In every table, we have a title as well as a column and row. And a row in our situation would be whatever this is. So this is one row. So one row, two rows, three rows. There's 4 rows right now. And the columns are whatever these are. And look, I know I've covered a lot of theory here, so let's just get into the actual application sense and how you can write code to display all of this. So here we have my Nizzy Abby platform, and if we head over to the admin page, we can just get started with actually, going step by step on how this will work. And like I said earlier, okay, let me just delete whatever we don't need. There we go. We have the data table page, the columns page, and then generally you'll want some sort of database or ORM to call the data for your table from. Let's say we have courses that we want to display. In our database or ORM, here we have a model course displaying whatever the courses is and the additional information that comes with that. And so then when it's time to display the columns and the data, here all we need to do is obviously have TrendStack React table installed. And then within exporting the columns, we're just doing a columns def export with the courses data. So we're just calling the courses data from the Prisma ORM, and then we are displaying whatever we want as the column. Again, the column is whatever these are. Usually you'd have like a title here, so it'd be like title of the course, price up here, is published, and then link. But I don't like that. I just like it without anything over here. And to display it, all we got to do is just have an accessory key. So for us, it's title. And why this is important, why this accessory key is important, is that this is searching through the database of the model course and is looking for a match. So here we have title, it's looking for title over here. Same thing goes with the price and is published. We're just adding whatever we want to it. So for example, here we have header of column as well as here in the price. But what's special about the price is we want to display something like the $sign, right? And let me actually zoom in here, I apologize. Although we do the exact same thing where we would call the accessory key of the price, is what we can do as well is build some sort of format pricing to this row so that we can display the $sign as well as the 2 zeros at the back. And finally, the last part is published. We're calling this as, again, from the database in the column and then in the row, right? Whenever there's a row, we want to maybe design it. We can just do something like this where it has a badge as well as a gradient. And so if I just zoom out over here, right, we have covered the column.tsx. This was essentially building out the design of what we want these to look like, as well as the actual columns of the contents within it. However, one main thing we did not do is actually call this into the data table. And here's where things get a little bit tougher, but we can just cover how that may work. And by the way, everything here will be left in the GitHub repository for this platform down below. It's absolutely free. Just make sure you leave a star. I would highly appreciate that. And so if we head over to the data table.tsx, you can see a lot of imports, and that's completely normal. This is what just comes with React Table, and you just have to do that. We're just calling the columns data from over here, which includes the courses data. And in here, I'm not going to get into the gist of things. This is going to get way too confusing and way too complicated, but these are just tools that we can put into our table to make our lives a little bit easier, such as a search filter, a order state, a filtering state, stuff like that, just to make things more easy for the user. And then I'll get into the search input in a second, but what I want to show you is how the table is organized. So we're basically just calling the tables card, and as usual, we're just mapping through the table data that we had from the columns, and then we're just displaying it in an organized manner. This is all the code we really need, but it's a lot more of the imports and then just calling it here so that we can use it. And essentially how we're grabbing this table's data is that we're putting it into a const and then mapping through it over here, thus displaying the rest of the data. And again, I'm not going to act like I know exactly what's going on here, but you can kind of think of this as grabbing the data from the columns and then mapping through it in the data table using some third-party tools. And okay, so I explained how we wanted to add a search input, right? And all we have to do that is use something like this input over here. And let me just remove this. I used to have it, now I don't. I don't really like having it because it's just, I don't have many courses, and I just realized I am in the wrong Nizzy Abbey page. And you can see over here, I know it looks a little clunky because it's not supposed to be here, but you can see that there is a working search filter that you can implement. And again, all I had to do is have these imports here, which I know is a lot, but in the input, all we had to do was just give it a value. So we're just giving the input a value. And whenever there's a change to the input, we're just searching through all the titles and we're just searching through all the titles and seeing if there's a match to the search. So we can just go over here and you can just search something like Stripe payment, and you can see we get the Stripe payment. If there is nothing, right, we can just maybe write something like this. You can see we're getting no result because we had an else statement here saying that if there's no length to the columns, then show no results. But again, this is just one of many features of React tables. I've been personally just enjoying this a lot. It's so simple. I know this is a little bit complicated, but all I had to do is just follow a simple tutorial and then implement it just really easily. In addition, I'm not even using it to the full its capabilities. Like, I'm not even using the input. There's also things like pagination, giving these titles, organization, just a bunch of things that you can use to make your app creative, make your users love the app even more, or just make your life easier with building out a dashboard. But yeah, that's just how I build out my React tables. But again, these two things just will make your life very easy, and it's just 2 pages at the end of the day. But yeah, if you like the video, it would really go a long way. And if you want to join the Discord channel, I'll leave that down below. And also, if you like this video, then you will love this video on the screen. Happy coding, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.